This is Ari Koretsky, and welcome to Jews You Should Know, introducing the broader community to interesting and inspiring Jewish men and women making a difference in our world. Some are already famous, some not yet so, but each is a Jew you should know. And I am back after a whirlwind 2-week tour in the Holy Land, 2 amazing weeks of interviews. I was privileged there to conduct 25 interviews during the 10 days really that I was working over those 2 weeks. And I'm very excited to slow release those in the months to come. I'm not going to do it chronologically in order of the interviews that I actually conducted, but rather thematically. A number of the interviews fit into sort of subcategories. For example, a group of what I would call bridge builders, people that are bringing people together from within Israeli society, different parts of the spectrum, religious and otherwise. Another mini-series will be about entrepreneurs, high-tech people, and actually another sub-mini-series, perhaps we'll call it, will be about female entrepreneurs, amazing women doing incredible things in the business sector in Israel. But I'm going to start with a mini-series on the topic of inclusion and disabilities. I learned on this trip that Israel is a world leader in the area of inclusion, one of the most progressive societies when it comes to dealing with people with intellectual deficits or emotional challenges and all sorts of special needs. And I interviewed 3 amazing pioneers in this field. The first we're going to hear from today is Doron Almog, who not only is an Israeli military legend, but is also the chairman of Aleh Negev. Aleh Negev is part of the broader Aleh network. Aleh is an incredible organization founded in 1982, over 35 years ago, with 4 rehabilitative care facilities, Jerusalem, Bnei Brak, Gedera, and again, the Negev, treating people of all different ages and helping people of all diagnoses live happy, dignified, and meaningful lives. We'll hear more about Aleh at the end, but just one more note before we jump in to our interview with Doron about the context for many of these interviews. This one and all of them that I did in Israel, these were all live, and therefore they were conducted in a wide variety of environments, outside, inside, different rooms with more or less echo and sound qualities. And so as I release these episodes, you'll hear not only a variety of sound qualities, but really a variety of sound styles. For example, this one, as I note, took place outside in the beautiful backyard of Doron Almog in Nes Tziona. So you'll hear birds chirping and some quiet whirring of outdoor appliances, and let that recede into the background as you enjoy the incredible, inspiring words of this great military and societal hero, Doron Almog. We are here in the beautiful, picturesque town of Nes Tziona with Major General Reserve Doron Almog, an Israeli war hero, as well as a pioneer and advocate in the area of inclusion and disabilities. And we're going to hear all about that incredibly diverse and fascinating saga. How are you, Doron?
Very well. Today, it's not a usual day. There is some escalation in Gaza.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not hear about it.
Bombardment missiles from Gaza were shot toward south of Israel. Among them, the village, Aleh Negev, Nachalat Eron, our village. None of the missiles landed in Aleh Negev, but Israeli citizen casualties.
Really?
Yeah. And many attacks had been done in return by the Israeli Air Force.
Wow.
And I believe at the end it will come to some kind of ceasefire.
Right.
Hopefully long-term ceasefire, maybe for 5 years. That's the discussion about. But it's not a simple day. Another day of escalation in Gaza.
Wow. I didn't even hear about it. I'm glad you informed me. So take us back, Doron, to the beginning. Where are you from, and what was your background like?
Yeah, I born in Israel, 1951. Educated in Rishon LeZion elementary school, and later moved to Haifa from 14 to 18.
For high school or with your family?
High school, no, only me in military boarding school.
Military boarding school.
Near the Re'ali in Haifa, Mount Carmel.
It was run by the army?
It's by Ministry of Defense. It was, as a matter of fact, it was the idea of David Ben-Gurion, our first prime minister, to build military boarding school for excellent officers who would stay. It's parallel to the West Point, to U.S. West Point.
But it's a high school, it's younger.
It started from 14, now from 15 to 18. So the idea was building a military boarding school for the cadre of new cadet in Israel, and the only Jewish country in the world, and to establish a generation of qualified officers.
So it's amazing, already at 14 years old, you knew, or they knew, that you could become an officer. That's very early.
Near the best school in Israel, the Re'ali school is considered the best school. Together, civilians and cadet.
Wow.
So I was qualified in the military
take a lot
boarding
of
school.
tests and everything to get in?
Yeah, and joined the military in 1969 during the War of Attrition along Suez Canal. 2 years after the 67 war, Six-Day War, and recruited in the Para Brigade.
Paratroopers? Tzanchanim,
Paratrooper, Tzanchanim. And shortly after joining the Para, started participating in operations. My first operation was the Shedwan Island raid, in order to bring prisoners, Egyptian prisoners, to allow the Israeli government to maintain a package deal with the Egyptian.
So you're capturing Egyptians to then trade back?
The Egyptian to trade back,
Who are we trading for? Who was Egyptians had?
Some of our pilots were taken as prisoners while bombarding the delta and positions in Egypt. And some of our paratroopers also were taken prisoners by Egyptian trade over the Suez Canal, and the east side of the Suez Canal.
Right, okay.
So our mission was to raid to Shedwan Island. It was island which was populated by about a battalion commander, Egyptian battalion commander, about 400 soldiers. We landed with helicopters January 22nd, 1970. Landed by helicopters and had won a battle, fighting from position to position, killing about 50 Egyptian soldiers, taking 65 Egyptian prisoners.
And you brought like a cargo transfer plane?
My company commander, Yitzhak Kotler, was killed. A good friend, Chaim Keisarovich, was killed, and another friend, Israel Barlev, was killed. We lost 3, but we did the mission. We brought back 65 Egyptian prisoners, and shortly after the Shedwan raid, the Israeli government maintained a package deal with the Egyptian, brought back some of our prisoners. Later, many more operation, officer schools, platoon commander, company commander, Yom Kippur War. I was a paratrooper company commander. Before the Yom Kippur War, I participated in the first operation in Tripoli to kill the terrorists behind the Munich massacre of the Israeli 11 sportsmen in
72.
Munich, the Olympic game 1972.
Did you watch the movie?
I didn't see the movie, but I participated in the
real
one.
Movie.
Yeah, so we landed.
I was just going to ask you if you thought it was accurate or was a real representation.
I don't know. I didn't see, but movie is a movie.
Right.
So I participated in the first operation, landing after 48-hour cruise in abandoned beach, marching 10 kilometers, surprising the terrorists in their homes, killing 18, evacuated with helicopters, taking one of our friends wounded, Avner Hermoni, flying back to Israel. Later, the Yom Kippur War, 1973, which surprised all of us.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, October 6, 1973, Shabbat, State of Israel was attacked by Egyptian in the south and Syrian in the north.
Do you remember where you were when it happened? Yeah.
Of course. None of us.
Were people in
cannot
synagogue or where were people?
No. I was military, and we were called back to our units on Friday.
Ah, okay.
So I was in my camp in Betlid, the Power Brigade camp. We were positioned at the center of Israel when the war started, but my brother, Eron, was stationed in the Golan Heights. He was armor platoon commander in the 7th Brigade. Only 180 Israeli tanks defended the Golan Heights against more than 2,000 Syrian tanks at the first hours. And the Egyptian crossed the Suez Canal. My battalion was sent to Sinai. We fought against the Egyptian. Fierce battles. There were many moments I thought I won't see the second later. We won the war. Yeah, one of, I think, the greatest victories ever of the State of Israel, which the initial condition these were against the State of Israel, terribly against the State of Israel. We were in inferior position at first. After 3 weeks, one of the greatest victory ever, we found ourselves 100 kilometers from Cairo, in the south, about 40 kilometers from Damascus. In north, there was no cellular, no laptop, no internet.
Right.
I found a telephone call home. The rumors in my hometown said both of us were killed, me and my brother.
Really?
I was 22, paratrooper company commander. He was 20, my brother Eron. And my mom raised the telephone, surprised to hear my voice. And then I asked, what about Eron, my brother? She said, we lost Eron. We have no Eron anymore. I came home. There was no Shiva. After the Yom Kippur War, they were all buried in temporary cemeteries. He was buried in the north, others were buried in south of Israel. The funeral happened 1 year later. There was nothing to do at home. So I continued to the Golan Heights. I found his burned tank. And then I continued to hospital and found some of his soldiers and did my own investigation, and shockingly discovered that he was left behind. He was shot by a Syrian tank 50 meters in front of him while shooting 3 other Syrian tanks on his left. And he was thrown outside. He was the only survivor from his tank crew. Thrown outside, bleeding, pleading, shouting for assistance. He could be saved. He was hit on his left leg, but his company continued to Tel Saki, to south of Golan Heights, to save the paratroopers who were fighting in Tel Saki, my friends. He was evacuated, dead already 7 days later. So I was rageous after the Yom Kippur War, rageous. And I decided, I swore at that time, I did my own oath for my bleeding brother, to stay in military, never ever leave a wounded soldier behind, just like that.
Did you become very angry with the military? I mean, I could have imagined you wanting to leave the military because you're so upset.
I was frustrated and angry, first of all, about the simple fact that his friends left him. His friends continued to save my friends, the paratrooper, who were fighting in south of the Golan Heights, but it doesn't matter, he was left behind. And I continue staying in military, in combat unit. I had the privilege not to continue serving in combat unit anymore as bereaved family.
Right.
But on the opposite, I decided to stay in military. 3 years later, I was the first Israeli soldier to land in Entebbe, the famous raid.
That's amazing. That's 77?
76, July 4, 76, 200th anniversary of United States, the night between the 3rd and 4th of July.
And so you were on the
1976.
And when you say you were the first to land over there, that means as a paratrooper jumping with...
Not jumping, we landed, we came to Entebbe by 4 Hercules. Number 1 landed 11 p.m. sharp. As a matter of fact, number 1 did most of the mission. 53 minutes on the ground where we killed the 7 terrorists and brought back the 105 Israeli hostages.
Was Yoni Netanyahu on your
Yoni
carrier?
was together, with we were 2 units in number 1 Hercules. Yoni Netanyahu, 35 soldiers, 1 Mercedes, 2 jeeps, and my unit, their para-reconnaissance unit. I jumped first from the Hercules 1,000 meters after landing.
Wow.
And marked the runway for the next 3 Hercules to come.
Because it was totally dark, right?
Not at first. I will
Yeah.
immediately explain. But 7 minutes after our landing, number 2 landed with 2 BTR-40 Russian cars. And number 3 landed 1 minute later. Number 4 landed 1 minute after number 3. Number 4 was a medical evacuation team and reserve force. Now, what was it was all about gaining surprise at the first seconds.
Right.
According to procedure, international procedure, international airport the runway is marked all over the night. This is international procedure, and every airplane needs to ask permission for landing. We didn't ask permission.
Right.
We landed, but we assessed that shortly after the control tower understand that there was unpermission landing, they will switch off everything, and that is exactly what happened. So we landed, and shortly after landing,
You shut down all the power.
yeah, when I jumped, after 1,000 meters, the Hercules slowed down to speed of about 20 kilometers an hour. So we jumped from the side doors of the Hercules. I first, and the rest of my team, 9 soldiers. 4 marked the runway, 2 from each side by battery lights, small battery lights, 100 meter between the battery lights, 7 from each side, and all together it's 600 meters, which was enough for the landing of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Hercules.
Right.
We continued to the new control tower. There were 2 control towers. One, the old control tower near the old terminal, the place that the hostages were kept with the 7 terrorists.
Right.
And my mission was to capture the high ground and the new control tower, which is a hill controlling the whole airport, the dominating ground. So we did the mark of the runway and continue for about 400 meters inside, capturing the new control tower, killing 4 guards near the control tower, getting inside, and later getting to our rendezvous point. Number 1 Hercules, after leaving us, continue running more 2 kilometers, stop, disembark the 1 Mercedes and 2 jeeps with Yoni Netanyahu and the 35 soldiers.
And that was supposed to be the car that looked like Idi Amin's
Yeah,
car.
the Mercedes like Idi Amin, and they continue running more 3 kilometers toward the old terminal. Few hundred meters before the old terminal, there were some Ugandan guards. They killed them, which later was controversial because it was about Yoni Netanyahu's decision maybe some of the soldiers thought it may be a mistake to shoot and create a noise, which
To alert them.
yeah. However, we didn't lose surprise. Yoni Netanyahu group arrived to the old terminal and penetrated from all sides simultaneously, killed the 7 terrorists. I think the main battle took about 2 minutes.
Wow.
The 7 terrorists were killed, and about 40 Ugandan guards near. Yoni himself was shot by one Ugandan soldier from the old control tower, from the top of the
sniper,
old
basically.
control. Yeah, it was. I'm not sure it was a sniper, but however, Yoni was shot. The whole operation continued without stop. Later, when Yoni was evacuated to number 4 Hercules. Number 4 Hercules landed last, but took off first.
Right, left first, yeah.
Yeah. So the order of leaving Entebbe was the opposite of landing. Number 4 left first, and then number 3, and then number 2, and number 1, the Hercules, which brought us, took off last.
When Yoni went down, did you become in charge then of the whole mission, or of his group?
No. We were some units. We were about 250 soldiers all together.
Right.
So
who took over his unit? He had another next in command?
No, there was Brigadier General Dan Shomron was the commander of the whole operation.
Okay.
Yoni Netanyahu had one mission, the main mission. My unit, another mission, taking the new control tower, marking the runway.
Right.
Matan Vilnai with the paratroopers taking the new terminal, taking control on new terminal. I had another group of soldiers with a mission to guarantee refueling near the new terminal. In the new terminal, one of our soldiers also was shot. Ershko Surin got a bullet in his head, badly wounded, and he's still alive. He's in a wheelchair. I have many pictures of Ershko. He was in coma 1.5 years, but he's fine. Later he was graduated in computer science. He did a master in computer science.
He wasn't brain damaged.
Yeah, he's still he's in a wheelchair.
Physically,
physically, yes, but yes, his brain his brain is fine. He also established Lotem Foundation, which is a foundation to assist students, to assist handicapped and disabled by students, volunteering students to assist disabled. Yes, that was taking disabled people to the nature, to visit nature, which was his dream when he was hospitalized. However, from Entebbe we flew to Kenya. We landed in Nairobi. We refueled because our refueling system in Uganda, in Entebbe, went very slowly. So we decided to give up and
get out of there.
Take the second option. The second option was refueling in Nairobi. We landed in Nairobi and continued to Israel. Number 4 Hercules with the hostages landed in Ben Gurion Airport, and the rest, number 1 and 2 and 3, landed in Tel Nof, a military base, with no much crowd, no much publicity, and we continued. Entebbe for me, it's one of the heroic mission, a mission which until now is stay in the modern military pantheon of
more than 40 years already.
Amazing,
yeah.
But
how did you feel right afterwards? Did you know that this was a great event right away?
Of course. Well, we understood before that flying 4,000 kilometers, that was very unique. We did mission all over the Middle East, but flying 4,000 kilometers, landing 11 p.m. sharp, killing 7 terrorists, and surprising them, bring the 105 Israeli hostages back, losing 3 of the hostages, losing Yoni Netanyahu. In general, it's a huge success.
Yeah.
For this kind of operation, succeeding to surprise the terrorist and give the Israel one of the greatest victories ever.
Yeah.
In our modern history. You know, it's 3 years after the Yom Kippur War, after the State of Israel lost deterrence, and I think the morale in the State of Israel after the Yom Kippur was very low. Israel was really shocked.
Yeah. It was the opposite of 67, really, right, in many ways, where 67, Israel was the one surprise attacking, and it was such a swift victory, and Yom Kippur was very different.
So then Entebbe, I think it was about
restore the confidence,
gaining pride again, walking tall, feeling that yes, we are competent, and we gave pride to the Jewish people all over the world. We gave pride, and I think, to democracies. You know, we gave pride also to the United States. At that specific day, the 200th anniversary of July 4, 76.
Ah, right.
Yes.
That was on
July
the
4,
bicentennial.
That
Wow.
was the 200th anniversary of.
I don't think I ever put that together. That's really incredible timing.
I don't know where. How old are you now?
I'm just about 40. Yeah. So this is before I'm born. I was born in 78. So.
Yeah. So that was 76.
Yeah.
So I continue serving after the Entebbe. Many missions in Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Jordan, Sudan.
All the countries surrounding.
Yeah, the first Lebanese war, I led the paratroopers landing in Awali River, marching 7 days, arriving first to Beirut, killing more than 300 terrorists and Syrian soldiers, commando, destroying more than 50 APCs and tanks from the Syrian side. 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. I participated many missions in Sudan to bring Jews from Ethiopia.
That's Operation Moses?
It's not Moses, it's not Solomon. It's 10 years before the Moses and Solomon. There were clandestine operation in Sudan. We brought them from the Sudani desert. Each operation was very moving. In each operation we brought about 600.
Wow.
Very moving period. And parallel to this mission, many other missions all over the Middle East against Hezbollah leaders, terrorist leaders. 1984, while leading operation in Sudan, our second child was born.
So you were already married and with a child at this time?
I was married since 1978.
Wow.
With Didi.
In honor of my birthday. When did you get married in 1978?
What exactly? What was
September 26.
No. So, our wedding was May 24.
Okay, you're getting ready. For
however,
me.
It was like Baomer.
Like Baomer. You were getting ready for me.
Baomer night. So May 24, 1978. A year later, our first child was born. Nitzan, our daughter, living here.
She lives in Nes Tziona. This house?
Second floor.
Second floor,
with
okay.
The grandchildren, with the 4 grandchildren.
Wow, okay, she waved to her upstairs.
Yeah. And 5 years after Nitzan, 1984, our second child was born, 11 years after the Yom Kippur. He was a boy. We gave him the name of my brother, Eron, that was killed in the Yom Kippur
Golan,
War.
yes.
And as parents, we expected him to be better than us, more successful, more talented, a source of pride. At first, we saw that it didn't react to any noise, any clicking, no eyes following fingers. At the age of 8 months, he was diagnosed, and we were told, Didi, my wife and me, were told by a psychologist, your son is having a combination of autism and retardation. Probably he will never speak. Probably he will mentally stay child forever. That was a shock. We felt the sky dropping down on our head. And you ask yourself how the hell you continue managing your life if your son won't be anything of your dream. Anything. I think at the age of 2 years, we understood how to reshape our life. We saw him smiling. While smiling, we understood he got inner world. What is a smile? The smile is also having some cognition, having the ability to smile because of A plus B plus C make him smile. You don't know what make him smile.
Right. Something's going on.
Something is inside.
Yeah.
So you got some cognition, this is number one, but what's more important, that he's happy. Like he's saying from his shouting silence, my dear father, I will never speak. But are you ready, my dear parents, to give up on the dream that one day I'll be a professor, a Nobel Prize winner, a pilot, engineer, lawyer, whatever, journalist? Are you ready to give up on a dream that I'll be something one day and be satisfied only to raise smile on my lips, only to make me happy? That's all. We decided to love him, we decided to raise him, we decided never to be ashamed. And he, the child, was never spoken one word, never said Abba, never said Ima, never made eye contact. And he became the greatest professor of my life. He taught me more than any other human being, commander, professor, about myself, about our society, about our community, about our values, about love. We say Kol Israel arivim ze lazeh. We say all Israel responsible one for each other. We say. At first, we started moving all over Israel to see where and how these children are kept. And we came to institute which were horrible. You open the door and you got a smell, and then you see distorted faces of children who are terrorized, afraid from the world. And then you see shameful stuff. People who are working in this institute who lower their eyes and
they know
they're
doing terrible.
And fully ashamed. No pride on working with these children. No pride, no ability to say I'm working with disabled children. Just shame. We came home crying. Then we started hearing stories about shame. Golda Meir, the Prime Minister of Israel, the Eron woman who sent me and my friends to hunt down the terrorists behind the Munich massacre of the 11 Israeli sportsmen. Golda was also grandmother of Meira. Meira, after Golda passing, gave interview. She was Down syndrome, married. She told the Israeli public, Golda never visited me, Golda didn't love me. Golda told my mom to never mention the Prime Minister of Israel having retarded granddaughter.
Wow.
And then more stories about our leaders. Yigal Allon was deputy prime minister when we flew to Entebbe. Yigal Allon, the bio of Yigal Allon that was written by Professor Anita Shapira from Tel Aviv University describe a girl, Nurit, born in Kibbutz Genosar, the daughter of Yigal and Ruth Allon, described as beautiful child, didn't speak until age 5. At the age 5, the Allon family decided no place for Nurit in our family, neither in the kibbutz nor in the state of Israel. She was taken overseas to Scotland. Once a year he flew to visit her. Never ever he spoken on his daughter in the public. Years later, 3 years ago, I was in Australia, and suddenly my cell rang, and I was announced by a special committee that I'm awarded the Allon Committee for pioneering and so on. So I asked, when the ceremony they said that and that, I said, I'm not in Israel. Maybe my mom will come to take, she's 86. She was Palmach soldier.
Your mother?
My mother.
Oh my goodness.
Under Yigal Allon, he was a commander. I said, my mom will come. I said, fine, okay. Then later, I came back to Israel, invited the committee to come to the village which we built for our son. So they landed, about 2 years ago, they landed in helicopter. 3 people, the 3 over 90, and they were a part of the committee awarding me for Yigal Allon Prize. The head of the committee was Steph Wertheimer, were very rich, very well known.
Right.
He sold out his car, his company to Warren Buffett for $4.5 billion.
Not bad.
Not bad exit. So he landed with helicopter. Together with him, Eliyahu Sela, who nicknamed Ra'anana, was the operation officer of Palmach during 48, the independent war. And Ada Sireni, a woman, also woman fighter, Palmachnik, one of the heroes of our 48 war, independent war. We did visit in Aleh Negev, the village, and then at the end I told him, thank you for awarding me the Yigal Allon Prize, but you know that Yigal Allon had a daughter, Nurit, is never mentioned. They all say yes.
They know about it.
Of course. So, and then Ada Sireni, the woman fighter, said, I also had a daughter, Orly, like Nurit. She born in Kibbutz Eron, north of Israel. And me decided the same decision. No place for Orly in our family, neither in the kibbutz nor in the state of Israel. Orly was taken to London, lived until 43. We were all ashamed and mistaken. There was no Doron Almog, no Aleh Negev village. We hid our disabled children. We wished to build a new heroic ethos of the Sabra, right. The Israeli born here.
Pretending there's nothing imperfect, there's nothing, no deficiencies.
Yeah. So as I said, the greatest teacher of my life was Eron,
right.
Our son, the son who has never spoken one word.
And you took a very different path. So what did you start to do as he was growing? You went to visit these places and they were terrible. So did you decide right there?
Not right away, later. Okay. You know, in Israel there is a special education law. So special education law bounding these children from age 3 to 21. What does it mean? When he was 18, we got formal letter from Israeli Ministry of Education saying your son reach 18, when he comes to 21, you won't be able to continue studying any longer in special education school. That's it. In the United States, there's something like the Israeli special education law, and parents in the United States saying bloody 21, naming this law.
That's what they call it. They call it bloody 21.
Bloody 21.
Because then they're stuck. Nothing
barrier.
else.
Yeah.
Nothing else for the child
in
to
the United
do.
States, there is a group home, but the group home is fit only for light disabilities, not for severe disabilities. As a matter of fact, the alternative for severe disability in the United States and Israel is hospital or nursing home.
Wow. At 21 years old?
21, yeah. So I was the commander of the Israeli Southern Command, fighting in Gaza, leading many operations, Major General, and at the same time, a father of 18 years old, child, who is like saying, my dear father, it's up to you. You may decide as Igal Alon or Ada Sireni, you, if you want, you may put me overseas for fostering a Christian family or whatever. My dear father, I'm unable to speak. I will never complain. I'll never go to the media. It's up to you. But my dear father, if this is your decision, like Alon or Ada or others, you are ashamed. You do not deserve the title father. You do not deserve the title human being if this is your decision. But by the way, my dear father, you flew to Entebbe to save the 105 Israeli hostages. They were 1 week hostage. I'm hostage from birth. Every single second of my life I'm hostage. And I'm enveloped by stigma and shame and stereotype. Oh, my dear father, make up your mind. What kind of person are you? You are a warrior, you are a fighter, but my dear father, you, the Jews, you say, Kol Israel arevim ze lazer. You all responsible one for another. From my point of view, it's fake. It's not for me. Your values are done for the healthy, powerful one. You judge people according to their capacity. I got 0 capacity, and you give me 0 in your society. By the way, my dear father, this is the only Jewish state in the world. How you want to continue building a society of example? What kind of society you think you are going to build here by hiding severely disabled children like me? What kind of people are you? Do you have compassion? You understand what is love? You say, don't judge your friend until you come to his position, but you judge me, you stereotype me. My dear father, I'm judged. I was born with 2 life sentences, a broken body, unable to do anything by my power. I need your assistance every single step. And one day I'll be taken and put in institute, which is another jail, for all my life. So I'm not speaking, I'm not complaining, my dear father, about justice in this world, but it's about you, not only to protect the state of Israel, but also to make a tikkun olam, to make this society a better one, a much better one, with better understanding what does it mean, Kol Israel arevim זה לזה, or ואהבת לרעך כמוך. You teach in every kindergarten, in every school, this statement, these values, but my dear father, please make these values only also for me. Include me and my friends. Inclusion is also bringing me inside to the Jewish community.
So how did you do it? What did you do? He's 18 and you went to
he was 18. I was the commander of the Israeli South Command. I decided to leave the military and build Aleh Negev, build a village together with my friends in Aleh Foundation.
And Aleh already had a couple of...
A couple of centers in Gedera, in Bnei Brak, in Jerusalem. As a matter of fact, in Gedera, I joined Aleh 1977. No, sorry, 1997. 1997, I joined Aleh. Aleh opened a new center in Gedera, and I was asked that our son will be taken. We came to a selection board, a selection committee, and 1 month later, the committee decided to take our son to Gedera. And then I was asked by management of Aleh to build a house for children like him in Gedera, 1997.
For ones they got too old? For 21 and over? Or
No. No, he was at that time. He was 13. He was young. He born 84.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So this center was for children and up to 21.
Okay.
So we built a house. I came to some of my friends who succeeded in business.
Your old army friends.
Yeah. Some of my friends, I was Gaza Strip Division Commander, Brigadier General. I came to some of my friends raising money. Very quickly, we raised a lot of money. We built a house. We named the house Bet Eron, the house
your
of
brother.
Eron for my brother.
Sure.
And our son
And your son's
was
name as well.
living,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was living 9 years in this house.
Wow.
While living in 9 years in this house, and then I promoted, became Major General, the commander of the Israeli South Command, and then we got this letter.
The bloody 21.
Yeah, when he was 21. So I decided, together with my friend in Aleh, my wife, to build a village, full lifespan. I left the military 2003. I was the commander of the South Command between 2000 and 2003. In 2003, I left the military for one mission, a social Entebbe, build a village for our son. In 2006, we opened the village.
Wow.
This village is about $50 million.
Wow. And did you again
Yeah.
raise that money from your friends?
Of course.
All the high tech. Good.
I brought a lot of money. We succeeded, the government, the Israeli government, we succeeded to convince the government to become a part of the joint venture between the government from one side and Aleh Negev Foundation from the other side.
And I'm sure many of your
which is
friends,
non-profit.
I'm sure many of your friends from Tzahal were in government at that time, and many connections.
That
and
didn't help.
didn't help.
That-
Interesting.
Most of my friends didn't believe that I will succeed bringing money. They said, "Yeah, you are crazy. Stay in military, become chief of staff. No, leave it. And, you're crazy." So we succeeded. Luckily, we succeeded bring millions. We succeeded bring the government to a joint venture deal, matching 50-50.
Wow.
So half of the money for building and construction. A lot of the money brought from the United States, from the JNF, the Jewish National Fund,
sure.
our friends, until now raised about $23 million. The Sakta Rashi Foundation, $3 million, the Safra Foundation, $3 million, the Weinberg Foundation, $3 million.
That's from Maryland, where I'm from. Yeah.
Yeah, from Baltimore.
Baltimore.
And more. We are raising more money.
And it's in the Negev.
It's in the Negev. It's very unique, it's groundbreaking project, never done in the world, never done something like that in the state of Israel. In a nutshell, what is Aleh Negev? Aleh Negev is a village for severely disabled children like him, full lifespan, until they pass away. At first we decided from 21 and over,
Right.
but now we have babies from few months. We have also 2 hospitals in Aleh Negev. One is high dependent unit, and the other is rehabilitation hospital. We have 140 residents like him. The parents do not pay. 140 residents in Aleh Negev. They got the highest life standard. They are enveloped by love, gardens, the best housing, the best education system, the
Therapies.
best healthcare system, the best social life, culture, love, music, gardens, animals, horses, anything ever invented for these children is there in Aleh Negev, in this village. This village is harmony. It's harmony of society. In Aleh Negev, walking 400 people, among them about 100 Bedouin Muslims living in south of Israel, walking in full harmony together with Jews and Christians. I have about 30 Christians from Europe, from United States, from Taiwan, many volunteers. We have 450 volunteers. In addition to 400 workers, 450 volunteers. And the idea is not anymore institute, but rather social community center. We did a wonderful integration system for the most severely disabled children like our son, saying we break down the barriers and walls of shame and stigma.
The exact opposite of what you experienced when you visited earlier on. Yeah.
Exactly. How come? In Aleh Negev, we also serve all the Negev population. Right now in the Negev, living about 800,000 Jews.
Yeah.
And about more than 200,000 Bedouins.
Yeah.
In Aleh Negev, we serve all the Negev population by a contract with the Israeli HMOs and Ministry of Defense in our rehabilitation center. We have a day rehabilitation center for all the Negev population.
Not just for disabled or challenged people.
Not just children. Children like our son is 1% from normal population.
Right.
But disabled from accident, stroke, cancer, work accident, home accident.
They all have access.
We have about 20% of population. It's also a huge market, the disabled people, handicapped, disabled, wheelchair, software, and more. So we are rehabilitation center for all the disabled in south of Israel, for soldiers, for high-tech businessmen, for politicians. So in the same swimming pool, the same hydrotherapy center in Aleh Negev, you may find, for instance, a politician after stroke, head of regional municipality after a road accident, a Bedouin girl, and someone like our loved son at the same swimming pool, not only as metaphor, but also as physical environment. So we have hydrotherapy, physiotherapy, music therapy, horse riding therapy, safari therapy, communication therapy, psychologist advice, psychiatric advice, dentist clinic. We serve all the Negev population together with those that in the past were discriminated, were put outside of society. So this is number one, rehabilitation service. Number two, education services. We have kindergarten for ordinary kids from age 1 at the center of the rehabilitation center. From age 1.
So they all interact with each other.
Little children living in south of Israel in communities like Patish, Renan, Ofakim, Maslul, studying in ordinary kindergarten, and we teach them what is love. We teach them what is ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. We integrate children, disabled children from the village inside this kindergarten and teach them what is social responsibility. What does it mean, Kol Israel arivim de lazeh? Not to be cruel, but to assist them, to understand, to be humble, to understand I'm lucky. I'm lucky, I'm powerful, I'm healthy, but I need to assist those who are unable, the weakest members in our society, the weakest and the purest. The purest because they never did wrong to anyone. Never killed, never hit, never cheat, never manipulated. But unfortunately, they are the weakest, unable even to say, please replace my diaper. So we teach the ordinary kids living in south of Israel at the same kindergarten. We have special education school for 125 students. Most of them arriving to our special education school 8 a.m., leaving 4 p.m., studying in Aleh, Negev, and getting back home. So this is number 2, education. Number 3, visits. In Aleh Negev, every day we insist on about 100 people visiting politicians, the prime minister, generals, high-tech, students from the universities in Israel, tourists from United States, JNF, the Jewish National Fund, sending every week a bus of donors, also visiting Aleh Negev, participating in building Aleh Negev, participating in Tikkun Olam, in our social responsibility for the weakest, for those who are unable to do anything by themselves, for the most vulnerable people on earth. And number 4, volunteers. We have 450 volunteers. Among the volunteers, we have Christian from United States, from United States and Taiwan, but we have also from Holland and Germany. The most interesting about the volunteers are the stories of the Christian from Berlin.
Wow.
They are grandchildren of Nazis' family. And what they say, we come for atonement. On the murder of the 6 million Jews, we come for atonement on Hitler's decision to kill the disabled first. I don't know if you're aware, but Hitler ordered at September 1st, 1939, the first day of Second World War, was T for Actia, the T for action. T for action was Hitler himself signed an order to shift the psychiatric centers all over Germany to small concentration camp, gather the retarded, the disabled, the handicapped, and kill them first. So the Christians, the volunteers from Berlin, the Christian volunteers from Berlin, saying, we are coming from Nazis' family. We are sorry. We come for atonement. Atonement on Hitler T for Actia. Atonement on killing 6 million Jews. Every human being is equal. We all equal by our rights, not equal by our power. And the strong people need to assist the weakest on earth. So, coming to Aleh Negev, visiting in Aleh Negev, people are saying, we got proportion. This is the most educational lessons learned in our life. This is the most moving place on earth. We come to Israel, we see how you treat the disabled, the broken people, how you treat Muslims. We see how you create harmony between Christian, Muslims, and Jews, and you all guided by one thing, love. This is very powerful. And every day we have more 100 people. Just now we calculated the 2017, more than 10,000 visitors arrived to Aleh Negev to see the wonder, to see the paradise for severely disabled place. Our son is not anymore with us. He was living one wonderful year in Aleh Negev. We opened the village January 1st, 2006, February 7, 2007. A year and a month later, he passed away from very rare disease, the Castleman disease. His spirit spread all over the village. His spirit spread to every corner of the village. His spirit is the love, the compassion. His spirit
and his smile.
and a smile. His smile is all over. His spirit is the power within me. And 2 years ago, I was awarded by the highest award the State of Israel giving a citizen, the Israel Prize for Lifetime Achievement. This prize should be given to him, not to me. He changed my life. He gave me power. He gave me meaning. And without him, I was totally different person. Without him, I would continue passing near institute for children like him and saying these children are not a part of our society. Like my parent generation, like Yigal Alon, the Palmar generation. So this child brought me to Tikkun Olam. And you know, in military we decorate people for bravery and courage. But it seems to me that the highest award people can be given by disabled is the title human being. And we all owe them. They are the supreme test for our humanity.
Well, I think, as you say, each person, regardless of their capacities as a human being, as we believe in Judaism, each person is created b'tselem Elokim, in the image of God.
Absolutely.
And I think it was, if I can make a suggestion, perhaps it was that spark of godliness that you saw in your son all those years ago when he first smiled. And you said, there's something deeper here, there's something bigger here, something more here.
At that time I didn't know what to say. At that time I think I was frustrated and painful. But he caught me. And he caught me and shook me.
And transformed.
And brought me to much deeper insight on our society, on our life.
What it means to be human.
He is the greatest professor of my life.
Amazing. Doron Almog, I'm without words. Each of your stories is itself an amazing podcast. Your military heroism and courage, as you mentioned, and perhaps I think you would say that the greater story is the story of your transformation to becoming a person of immense compassion and love and inclusion of people from all walks of life and all different kinds of challenges. I'm profoundly honored to have the privilege of speaking with you. And may God bless you with many continued years of health and many, many more years of helping build the society in a fashion of tikkun olam and love of one another with God's help. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. By the way, we have a program with the Israeli Ministry of Education named Tikkun Olam. This year, 13,000 students all over Israel studying in 1 year. What does it mean, Tikkun Olam? It starts by the teacher, 1 hour, continue with some lectures, among them my lecture, and then at the center, volunteering, working with disabled for 1 year. And the definition of volunteer is at least 2 hours a week.
Wow. Beautiful. Yeah. And as I'm also a rabbi, so I'll tell you that we say Tikkun Olam. It comes from the Aleinu prayer, L'taken Olam b'malchut Shakai. We fix the world under God's sovereignty. And it's again the idea that we see the spark of God in every person, whether they are brilliant or challenged, whatever they are, they're all in God's image. And you have brought that out in such a beautiful way. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoyed that amazing hour with Doron. Just to conclude, because I neglected to have him mention it, anyone who would like to learn more about Aleh, you can go to aleh.org, ALEH.org. You can volunteer there. You can run marathons. for them or do all kinds of amazing bar mitzvah projects, to buy Judaic items that the kids make during the vocational training, and so many different things. Check out the website, explore there, get involved with this incredible organization to the degree that you can, and I am sure you will be greatly enriched for doing so. Until then, this has been Ari Koretsky on Jews You Should Know. Please visit us at JewsYouShouldKnow.com and subscribe at iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you consume podcasts. Find us on social media at Jews You Should Know. If you'd like to become a supporter of this podcast, we would greatly appreciate that, and you can do so by visiting patreon.com. That's patreon.com/JewsYouShouldKnow. Finally, if you have enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review so that we can continue to grow and introduce many more people to Jews You Should Know.